Hello everyone, how's it going? So, even more bad news caused by AI. Now, AI has just been horrible. It's been gobbling up PC components for saying the betterment of humanity when in reality it's just giving scammers a brand new war chest in order to scam people out of their money, their information, billionaires taking more and more information to create dynamic pricings for their products. Like, AI has done really nothing beneficial for the average person. It's just been worse and worse. And entertainment has suffered greatly because of computer components just being gobbling up and then requiring the consumer to fit the bill. And Microsoft has to raise prices. Well, Xbox has to raise prices once again because Microsoft is one of the reasons this is happening because of Copilot. But yeah, Xbox has announced an additional console price update, and let's face it, this isn't surprising considering that GTA 6 is going to release later this year, and in order for you to play it, you either have to get your hands on a PlayStation or an Xbox, and this is probably the ideal time to say, you know what, you want to play one of the most anticipated entertainment products of all time, you're going to have to get one of these consoles, and right now, it's not looking pretty. And if Steam, Valve is struggling to create consumer-friendly products, this is like the last company that's actually holding back the tsunami of anti-consumer practices. Look, Valve isn't perfect, but if they didn't exist, let's face it, it would be far worse right now. Even they could not afford to create an affordable version of the Steam machine because they sell these consoles at a profit, not a loss. We saw this with the Steam Deck. And basically, they came out and stated the reason that this is happening is because RAM manufacturers, along with other computer components, come to them with an offer, and they either take it or you leave it. They never come back with an additional offer, so this is just kind of how they have to deal with things. And the reason Xbox is doing this and things are so catastrophic is because they're also sunsetting the 2 terabyte model because they simply cannot afford to manufacture this console anymore. So effective August 1st, 2026, we will be updating prices worldwide. The price of Xbox consoles will increase by $100 for the 512GB models and $150 for the 1 terabyte models. We will also be sunsetting the 2 terabyte model. Last October, we increased Xbox prices by $20 to $70 in the US. We hoped another price increase would not be necessary, and we spent the last several months working with suppliers and on options. Unfortunately, console storage and memory prices have increased by almost 2.5x, and we expect another doubling by fall 2027. So its chances are this console is going to be around $1,200 to $1,300 by the end of fall 2027, and Project Helios and the PS6 will likely be around $1,500 to $1,700. I know that seems very extreme, but right now I would not be surprised about that. So I think the best option for them right now is to just optimize their games for the current generation consoles and just hope for the best that this collapses, because right now AI has been suffering huge losses because it's simply not a viable business. Selling all this stuff, giving all this stuff out for free, like we've seen this with ChatGPT where they start to have ads on their systems. I think Google has their new their new type of RAM that is essentially groundbreaking, but for the most part, I think at this point AI is going to be a premium upgrade that people are going to have to pay for, that they can't just shove into every device. But it definitely seems that AI is going to go the way of NFTs and cryptocurrencies. It's here to stay, but it's not going to be the same thing because look at everything that's happening right now, and you can only squeeze the average customer so much until finally they break. If no one's going to buy your product, well, that's on you. And when it comes to Xbox, their games have been failing so dramatically, and they've been closing studios left and right that they literally have nothing to stand on. Say what you will about Sony, but they still have some really strong IPs. Nintendo has the biggest IPs in entertainment. Microsoft has run their IPs into the ground. Like, no one really cares about Campaign Evolved to the same degree because of like the way the game is being developed with the split screen controversy that just recently happened, and I did a video on that. Gears of War E-Day looks fantastic, but let's face it, it's Microsoft. Like, their last few titles that they've released have been just horrible, or they've just not reached to the same level that you would expect from this company, and now they're firing studios left and right. Like recently, Compulsion Game, I've seen it on LinkedIn that a lot of people said they would just recently let go. I don't know if they're shutting down the studio entirely, but a lot of people have let go, and we'll see whether they shutter the entire studio. The other studios on the chopping block are Ninja Theory, where they said they only promoted Hellblade 3 in order to get investors interested in possibly purchasing the studio, and then there's Double Fine, where their last game was Keeper, which was sold for $30 for some stupid reason. It was a great game. I liked it, but it was not $30. It was at most a $15 to $20 game, and that game was also a huge flop. Did not sell or move units. Forza has been a huge success, but that's a dime a dozen. The entire consumer electronics industry is struggling with the component crisis, but the effects are particularly hard on consoles. Unlike phones, computers, speakers, and other consumer devices, consoles are typically not sold at a profit, but instead for less than the cost they make. Yeah, because Microsoft and Sony sells their console at a loss, hoping they'll make up the difference in the premium cost for the subscriptions. With Xbox Game Pass, before it was Xbox Live Gold, a lot of people keep correcting me on that. It used to be called Xbox Live Gold. I am that old, so I call it when it was once before instead of what it's now is, like to differentiate between the time difference. So when it was Game Pass and before when it was Gold. Regardless, then there's PlayStation Plus, which they also sell. They will try and increase profits to encourage you to buy games off their digital store. So yeah, unlike Steam, which is sold at a profit, their Steam machine and their Steam Deck consoles are not, from PlayStation and Xbox. Today, we are now sharing programs to make Xbox consoles more accessible. Buy now, play later. We made it easier for people to buy now, pay later options on eligible Xbox purchases through the Microsoft Store, making it possible to break up payments into predictable short-term interest-free installments. Even then, like, I don't see what's the point. Like, you're still going to end up paying around $1,000 for basically a 3-year-old console with games that you can get on other platforms. Like I said, Gears of War E-Day is the exception, but I don't think it's going to be a system seller. Like after Gears 5, which I think did a lot of damage to the Gears IP because of the questionable decisions they made with that game, such as the horrible ending of that game. A lot of people didn't like playing as Kate. Me personally, I didn't really care that much, but the way I would have done Gears 5 is that you would have played as Dell and JD as they attempt to rebuild their relationship after learning what JD did, and you would follow Kate's trail in order to try and see what's going on with her, and you would have this mystery of whether you think Kate has gone over to the Swarm side or whether she is trying to fight it. That's what I would have done. Like, it would have made it a lot more intense because you wouldn't know what's happening to Kate, but that's just my opinion. Players purchasing Xbox hardware through Amazon can take advantage of zero APR financing for up to 12 months, giving players more flexible with lower monthly payments and more budgeting control. We are working with retail partners on new programs to provide previously played consoles at lower prices. Players who are ready to upgrade to no longer use their console will be able to trade in with participating retailers for cash or store credit. Those consoles will be made available at a lower price. Certified would be $100 off. And they just announced a 25 edition Xbox console as well. Like, I will give them that they're trying. Like, I know I shouldn't defend the multi-billion-dollar company, seeing that they made their bed with this entire situation after my just rant about AI. But they could have gone in the opposite direction for all of this, and they're deciding, you know what, we got to do whatever we can to save this brand, because right now Game Pass is the only thing keeping Xbox alive. And even then, despite the fact that they cut the Xbox Game Pass prices to $23 and they removed Call of Duty from it, it's still not enough. Like, Game Pass, I don't think this is ever going to make a recovery. I think a lot of people are just like done with this brand and this options. And you can see these are the new prices. $500 for a Series S, and the Series S is just a trash console. Like, it's just garbage. There's no reason this console should exist, but it still does. It costs the price of the Xbox Series X when it first launched. Then you have the Series S 1TB. Again, the Series S is just a terrible console. I don't know why anyone would buy this piece of crap, but I don't know. I've made bad decisions in my life. I guess this is one that a lot of people do in order to see the difference in prices. But Xbox Series X with the 1TB is $800, and then the Series X 1TB digital $750. Like, dear Christ almighty, when you look into taxes, this is around $900. This is about $900. God, what a shit show. And yeah, Arsha Sharma literally said a few days ago that gaming was becoming unaffordable. Like, it's impossible. Like, I really think that she inherited just a bad situation. She's making the best of her entire, like, whatever she was given. Like, this is what she's got to do. Like, she seems incredibly intelligent. She's very young, intelligent, driven, and yes, you can see it, like the recent decisions for the PR moves to try and lessen the blow for the closing of studios, the increases in prices, all of this stuff. But at the same time, it's just like I don't know, like, at this point, I really think that she's trying her best at what's given to her. Like, Microsoft likely said, hey, you gotta do this or else, and that's it. But look, as much as I'm trying to defend her in this type of situation, she is the boss and she has to clear these decisions. And unfortunately, this is the decision Microsoft has made. I think this current generation is cooked. That's it. Like, when it comes to PlayStation, they still have exclusive titles to fall back on. Microsoft does not. And I'm certain they're trying to bank on the release of GTA 6 to try and push sales as much as possible. But I really think that this is going to do the opposite, where people are just going to quit gaming altogether. Because, look, the fact of things is that a lot of people looked at gaming as the most affordable entertainment option. It used to be much cheaper to be a gamer than it did to be anything else when it comes to entertainment. Like, have you ever seen how much sports go for when it comes to, like, sporting events, jerseys, and all of that? I kind of compare that to gaming, and dear God, it's like night and day for these jerseys, these tickets, and all of that. I'm not a sports fan, but when it comes to gaming, it's kind of leaning back into that type of finance of trying to engage with this community. Like, even in the most affordable option out there used to be Nintendo. Nintendo was the most affordable option when it came to gaming, and now they're not there anymore. Like, you used to be able to buy a GameCube or a Wii when you went out to Walmart. Like, I used to have family members who would literally go out to Walmart for, like, grocery shopping. They saw a Wii or a GameCube. They said, hey, this would be great for our kids. They would pick it up and just bring it home. Like, that's how common gaming used to be. And nowadays, it's just not like that. Consoles have just gone up in prices this generation, the first in history, and it's gotten worse. Like, a lot more people are reporting things like stick drift, consoles not having the best parts. Like, I was blessed. I still have my PS5 and my Xbox Series X from the day that it launched. I have like, I know I'm going to rant on this, but has anyone else noticed this, that as consoles age, they actually use less viable parts and they use cheaper components? Like, I've seen that with controllers in particular. Like, they will use the cheapest plastic imaginable. You can feel the difference between the first generation controllers and then the last generation controllers. Like, especially with Xbox, they use a very coarse and cheap plastic. I saw this with the PS3, the PS4. It's just like the plastic and the components just feel off, as opposed to Nintendo back in the day. The GameCube controllers actually got better, then they got worse, and nowadays it's like the opposite. Things got more expensive and they've gotten worse in terms of manufacturing. But tell me what you're thinking about in the comments below. I can't wait for the AI bubble to burst and all of this to go back, and I really hope it does happen, because all of this garbage is back to that entire situation, for just an advanced chatbot that gives you a bunch of wrong answers. And I have tested this. I'm recently doing a bunch of lore videos on my main channel for, like, The Evil Within, God of War, because I want to do that. I felt inspired to do it, and every time I used the AI to see, to double check my information, they always gave me wrong answers. They were saying, like, how Anima was actually a little girl in STEM that was turned into a lost and became a hybrid creature. It actually said that Stefano Valentina was actually a victim of Sebastian Castellanos. I'm like, the serial killer? Really? And the same thing with God of War, like, all the wrong information. One of them said that Kratos even wasn't Greece, that he was from Rome. It was just like, we're paying all this money extra for stuff like Xboxes and PlayStation, and the AI literally can't get game lore right. And yet companies are dedicating an entire $1 billion into, like, garbage that gets almost everything wrong. I don't know. Like, I hate AI so much at this point, where everything is increasing in price. But tell me what you think in the comments below. That's it for me. I really think that this is the end when it comes to gaming for an affordable luxury. And at this point, it's just going to be for the ultra wealthy or people who have a lot of disposable income, because there's no way, no damn way, that they're going to be able to sustain this.